every seat has its own importance in relation to the candidate. In few states, there are Lok Sabha constituencies that holds immense importance. All the political parties put in extra effort to win these seats, cause winning them gets to the matter of pride. And today, we will be talking about one such hot seat. Being crucial and tough fight for this high-profile constituency, BJP have fielded none other than Rajya Sabha MP and Union Minister Hardeep Puri. Let's go and check out the winning agenda of BJP's Hardeep Puri for this hot seat. Republic means election, election means republic. You're watching On the Road with Republic TV, and we are joined by the man who's battling this high-profile constituency for BJP, Mr. Hardeep Puri. Mr. Puri, we welcome you to Republic Media Network. So, what is your daily routine like? How do you start off your day with?
My day, on an average, normal day starts around 5 in the morning, and I'm out of the house either by 5:30 or 5:45. Because I'm a Sikh, because I have long hair and my beard, I have started a new practice, which is that I bathe before I sleep, which is around 1:30 at night, and tie my beard. And I have another bath in the morning. So it's a day which starts at 5:30 and ends up around 1:15 at night. That is the average day. And it involves meeting people at home. It involves receiving visitors, including distinguished members of the press like yourself. It involves touring in the 5 halkas of the Amritsar city and the 4 village clusters, halkas. And on an average, I think for the last 7 or 8 days, the amount of sleep I've been able to get is about 3 hours at the outside.
So, we are at the breakfast table with you. So, generally, what do you eat for your breakfast? Is it the heavy one, or you go for the lighter version?
I would just say that if you have a heavy breakfast, you would not be able to get through the day. But because sometimes one has no time for lunch, so my typical breakfast in Delhi used to be a little bit of fruit. Now I take a little more, and sprouted beans, and maybe after that a toast and an egg. But here, because there are chances that I won't be able to get anything to eat there, I would be a little more indulgent over breakfast, because the next meal may come very late in the evening.
So you have a long experience of administration, then you were the Rajya Sabha member, and now you're fighting the Lok Sabha polls. Which one seems to be more challenging?
Look, they are all challenges of a different kind. I was a civil servant for 39 years. I was a member of the Foreign Service. 3 years after that also I worked. I've headed a national think tank. I have done other things. And then I was inducted into the Council of Ministers in September 2017. It's been a fascinating period since then. The development projects getting to, and very different from what I did earlier. Not entirely different, but quite different from what I did earlier. And now a Lok Sabha constituency is even more interesting, because here you have an average constituency is about 15, 16 lakh eligible voters. And you have to make contact with as many as you can, reach out to professional groups, do door-to-door campaigning, do, Nukkad meetings, do rallies, also larger gathering. So it's a learning experience, but I think I'm shaping up. I'm in good spirits, and we're going to win decisively.
So we'll let you have your breakfast. We'll continue the chit-chat. So going back to election mode, your opponent Gurjeet Singh Aujla won the by-election by a huge mandate. How difficult do you think will it be to gather all those votes in the favor of BJP?
There's no question of difficult and gathering votes. 2014 and 2017 were entirely different situations. In 2014 and 2017, 2014 more than that, we were battling in anti-incumbency. And that is why such a tall leader as Arunji, Mr. Jaitley, faced difficulty in this. Please remember that anti-incumbency is not something which, rears its features, only once in a while. It happens very often. It's a different thing today. Today we are coming in to the 2019 election with two distinct changes. There's pro-incumbency at the national level for Mr. Modi. There's a vote swing in favor of Mr. Modi because of the development work that he has done and his government has done. And here the anti-incumbency is directed against the Congress party. So it's a very different situation.
मैं कुछ खास गल्लां तुहाडे सामने रखना चाहना। रनीके जी ने, नरिंदर जी ने, शाह जी ने मेरे बारे तुहानू थोड़ा जानकारी दी। उन्हें एक बयान दिता है दरबार साहब जी ने जो हमला होया सीगा। उसने ये किया कि 1984 में जो हुआ अब क्या करें कि मतलब जो हुआ और फिर वो कहता अब बात बताइए आपने 5 साल में क्या किया। तो जो मैं ये बयान पढ़िया मनु बड़ा गुस्सा आया। मैं सिर्फ सोशल मीडिया पे एक ही गल रखी है, मैं कहा 1984 में जो हुआ मोदी जी की सरकार ने पिछले 5 साल में SIT बनाई है और जो दोषी थे सज्जन कुमार उसको भी अंदर कर दिया। उन्होंने अपना भेजा सुप्रीम कोर्ट को बेल लैंड वास्ते। ये बयान दिता सीगा सैम पिट्रोडा ने। सैम पिट्रोडा राजीव गांधी का भी एडवाइजर होता सीगा ते हुण राहुल गांधी नाल भी वो सलाहकार है। कैप्टन साहब ने भी एक बयान दिता कल शाम को। तुहानू याद होना जब 2014 के चुनाव की तैयारी हो रही सी ते एक रिपब्लिक चैनल हैगा जिहदे अज भी कैमरा पर्सन हैगी इत्थे। राहुल गांधी ने अर्नब गोस्वामी नो एक इंटरव्यू के दौरान जदों अर्नब गोस्वामी ने उन्होंने पूछा कि सही है कि कांग्रेस पार्टी कोई वड्डे लीडर 1984 दरबार साहब के हमले जो अत्याचार होया सी दिल्ली उससे शामिल सन। तो उन्होंने जवाब दिता सीगा हाँ हो सकता है शायद उन्होंने साडी पार्टी के लीडर्स विच भी कोई शामिल हो जिन्होंने कतलेआम जो दिल्ली 3000 बंदे मारे गए सन।
Congress won the by-election with a huge mandate. Being tagged as an outsider, Hardeep Puri is working day and night to reach out to the people of Amritsar. We are with him in Atari and you can see the number of people gathered here to showcase their support and love to the one who's being tagged as an outsider. Congress candidate never fails to convey the message of Puri being an outsider, but the crowd's love and support gives a different narrative. It seems that the opponent victory will not be easy this time. आपको क्या लगता है इस बार किसके आने के चांसेस ज्यादा है? कांग्रेस आएगी, आम आदमी पार्टी आएगी या बीजेपी आएगी?
नहीं, बीजेपी आएगी हिंदुस्तान में पूरे में।
लेकिन विधानसभा हुआ था, एक तरफा जीत हासिल की थी कांग्रेस पार्टी ने। उपचुनाव में औजला ने 1,70,000 वोटों से जीत दर्ज की थी। आपको नहीं लगता कि इस बार काफी मुश्किल रहेगा बीजेपी के लिए आना?
नहीं, कांग्रेस जो है झूठों वादों के साथ आई, बहुत झूठे वादे किए थे। किसानों को ये दे देंगे, बच्चों को नौकरी देंगे, स्मार्टफोन देंगे, ये झूठ बोलकर सरकार आई थी।
तो कोई भी वादा कांग्रेस पार्टी ने अभी तक पूरा नहीं किया यहाँ पे?
थोड़ा किसी किसी किसान का कर्जा माफ किया बस, और कोई वादा नहीं पूरा।
तो आपको क्या लगता है क्या क्या इश्यूज हैं आप लोगों के, आपकी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज में क्या क्या मुद्दे हैं?
मुद्दे तो बहुत होते हैं, जैसे बच्चों को नौकरी, अपना दाल आटा जो है वो बंद हुआ है, जो बोले थे चीनी देंगे, घ्यो देंगे, सब बंद हुआ है। इसलिए ज्यादा लोग इधर है, बीजेपी वाला है।
आपको क्या लगता है इस बार कौन आएगा? भाजपा, आम आदमी पार्टी, कांग्रेस पार्टी, कौन आपको लग रहा है किसका पलड़ा भारी होगा?
बीजेपी का होगा जी इस बार तो।
किस हिसाब से आप ये कह रहे हैं? इतने सालों से तो कांग्रेस यहाँ पे राज कर रही है, विधानसभा में तो एक तरफा जीत हुई थी।
नहीं वो नहीं बात, अब तो और है, वो समा और था, अब समा और है। वो जिमनी थी ना, बाई इलेक्शन था, अब तो है कि इलेक्शन हो रहा है सभी। तो मतलब कि काली बीजेपी हमारे यहाँ रनिके हैं, एमएलए जो थे उन्होंने बहुत विकास कराया। हम सरपंच भी हैं गांव के, पहले अब की बार तो नहीं थे। तो मतलब कि काफ़ी है कि कांग्रेस नहीं आएगी।
तो किन किन मुद्दों पे आप वोट देंगे? क्या ऐसे वो मुद्दे होंगे जिन पे आप वोट देंगे?
मुद्दे विकास के हैं जी, गांव के काम किए, हमने लोगों के साथ गए हैं, जो भी लोगों के काम थे वहाँ जाते रहे हम लोग, चल रहे हैं हमारे साथ।
5 साल में आपको क्या लगता है क्या क्या काम हुआ है यहाँ पे?
काम तो कोई रुका ही नहीं जी, सब काम होते रहे हैं। काम तो जबकि सरकार कांग्रेस आई है तब का ही रुके हैं, पहले कोई नहीं रुका था, सब चलते थे। सड़कों के ला लो, फ्लाईओवर ला लो, तुम कोई भी ला लो, मतलब कि डेवलपमेंट के सारे चलते हैं।
So drugs being one of the prominent issues in Punjab, what will you do about the drug menace?
Well, it's a very serious problem. We've lost an entire generation to drugs. You have to deal with this comprehensively. One are the measures at the point of importation or at the point of production. You have to be very tough on those. Drug industry doesn't survive unless somebody is giving it protection. I mean, and if the police is giving it protection, the police must be getting protection from it. I don't want to go into those issues. The real issue is enforce the importation or the production, be tough on that. But at the same time, you also have to be realistic. You have to get people into de-addiction. You have to then rehabilitate those people. You have to give them skills, those youngsters, and get them jobs. So in my vision statement, I've got a reference to that, and I propose to work on it.
So there's an insider-outsider narrative that is going on, and it is being talked a lot about. You know, what do you have to say? How do you look at this whole narrative? Will it somewhere down the line affect the election as well?
Well, it doesn't affect my election. It was a narrative when the opposition, when the Congress party found that they couldn't get anything else on me except that I was not from Amritsar. They tried this outsider tag, but they got their facts wrong. I'm not an outsider in Amritsar. Wikipedia, in fact, says that I was born in Amritsar. But you know, Wikipedia, people can put stuff in. I've tried many times to correct Wikipedia and say that I was not born in Amritsar. I came to Amritsar at the age of 4. I was born in Delhi. But my father came here as a refugee in 1947. The family started life from here. My grandfather was at Jallianwala Bagh. He was injured. He was one of those latecomers and escaped. He was injured. The family's been in around Amritsar. My paternal grandfather has a home in, he's passed away. We have a family house in Ludhiana. So what is all this outsider tag? Plus, Guru Ki Nagari was created so that every Sikh, no matter where he or she is, has a home of their own. There are Sikhs who've gone and made London, Wolverhampton Southwest, Southall in London, New Jersey in the in New York. They're home and they're accepted. There are 5 Sikh cabinet ministers in Justin Trudeau's cabinet. They are accepted, they are insiders. How can a Sikh like me, born and brought up in this area, I look like an insider. I certainly don't look like an outsider. So this is a tag which, it's used in a somewhat non-serious way. They can't get anything on a candidate. If you compare the two candidates' experience and qualification, you can't get anything there. So you say outsider. But it's not resonating. You were with me in this Atari rally. I wish you'd been with me. We're getting huge crowds and completely undiluted, very strong support. So I don't see what the problem is. I don't think it affects my election in any way.
So, this is not an assembly election, this is the Lok Sabha polls. What do you think is more important as an issue? Is it the national issue or the local issue to you?
Look, democracy, the festival, and democracy, the process, and democracy, the constituencies, they all play into each other. It's one great festival. People will bring up all kinds of issues. Some of the issues which are raised for me can perhaps be better tackled by the municipal commissioner or the police commissioner. But an effective MP has to do that. He has to represent the constituency in parliament. He has to raise issues relevant to that constituency in parliament. He has to take the voice of the people of his constituency into parliament. Aujla cannot do any of these. He has difficulty even in speaking inside parliament. He and Jakhar, this guy contesting from Gurdaspur, they do narebazi outside parliament, or they come in and get into the well of the speaker. Look, democracy is being severely tested. In developed industrialized countries, the turnout is very low. It's 20-30% in constituency. We are lucky that people still take it seriously. 60-65 plus percent people come and vote. You have to take up both local issues, you have to take up national issues, but you have to be a successful interlocutor between your constituents, their daily problems, and legislative. The job of parliament is to legislate, all right? So if there are problems, you can legislate on it. But the problem is different. If you're an MP and you don't belong to the ruling party, you've got a problem. What will you do? Who's going to hear your voice? And if you don't know how to speak in parliament, feel inhibited in speaking in parliament. Look, I used to have this issue when I was posted in New York. If you're not a member of the Security Council, how effective is a posting in New York? And I used to say you have to make it effective. Of course, I had the privilege of serving on the Security Council and chairing the council twice. I think local issues, MLA type of issues, corporation issues, all of these have an interplay. You don't have to do everything yourself. Sometimes you act as coordinator, sometimes you act as facilitator. But the important thing is you've got to be there. I plan to set up a WhatsApp group linking all citizenships, associations, prominent groups, so that you can converse with your MP on a real-time basis.
So your opponent Gurjeet Singh Aujla in his rally is speaking about party being responsible for the sacrilege. What do you have to say on this?
Gurjeet Aujla speaking about sacrilege? Isn't he a Congress MP? Isn't the Congress the party the one which committed an atrocity by attacking Darbar Sahib? I mean, this is clear. And then after that, killing 3,000 people in cold blood. I think he's talking nonsense. You should go and look at his history.
So, during election, there are very tall claims that are made to the voters, just to appeal for the votes. Like, for example, Congress tall claim of providing financial help of rupees 72,000 to each and every poor. Do you think such kind of promises are realistic?
There was a Congress Prime Minister, Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao. He made this statement famously in a conversation with a senior journalist. And he said that before you make a statement, or any leader makes a statement, be sure to check on what your credibility has been on the past promises. Because if you have credibility on past promises, you'll be taken seriously. In the case of the Congress party, 4 generations of congressmen have been giving the nara of Garibi Hatao. And you know what's happening from the time of Jawaharlal Nehru, from the time of Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, and now Rahul Gandhi. Look at the state of development in the country. Is anybody going to take their things seriously? Secondly, I don't think they did the arithmetic. When we saw the scheme, I was trying to look at how the sums will work out, whether we'll be in a position to, where will the money come from. Then we found it was both center and state would have to contribute. And I think it's one of those con jobs. You promise something which sound sensational before an election, and then later on people will forget about it. I mean, the captain did that in Punjab. I mean, he promised, by the hand on the Gutka Sahib, he promised that every poor household would get a government job. He promised that all the debt would be forgiven, karza maaf ho jayega. And he also said that, for Sagan, 51,000 rupees will be given. And you know what happened is none of this happened. And the poor people amongst the senior citizens, they lost their pensions also. So Congress will say all manner of things, that they ask people to fill forms, they'll get mobiles. So I've been repeating this ad nauseum about the Congress's promises. And yesterday or day before, Captain actually made a very interesting statement. He said whatever he promises he will fulfill, but he's just waiting for new technology, Android technology to come, and he would deliver after the election. Now the promise was made 2.5 years ago. Which election is he talking about? The 2019 one or the 2022 State Assembly election in Punjab?
So which is one such promise that you would make to the people of Amritsar now?
Look, I'm very clear in my mind. There is only one promise. We have to develop Amritsar. We have to get it to regain its past glory. And I have this vision statement. It's called Sankalp Patra, in which I spell out all that I want to do for Amritsar. Make it an international city for religious, historical, cultural purposes. There are visitors who come here. There are devotees who come here, not only to Darbar Sahib, but Durgana Mandal and the other dharmic places we have. So we want to completely rejuvenate the Amritsar economy. And I've listed out several things that I want to do.
So, talking about the issues, drug is one of the prominent issues in Punjab, is amongst one of the prominent issues in Punjab. What do you have to do about the drug menace?
Well, the drugs issue, I'm just locating the precise places where I have referred to the drugs issue. The point is that you need a comprehensive approach on drugs for the simple reason that the drug issue is not just merely an issue of enforcement. That is, you take the drugs at the point of production or at the point of importation. You have to do much more. You have to have a policy for de-addiction. You have to have a policy for rehabilitation of those youth. Because once they are hooked onto this menace, you have to wean them away, and then you have to give them skills so that they are in a position to, how do I put it, become productive members of society.
Amritsar will go for voting on the 19th of May. Soon the people of Amritsar will decide whether they will give a chance to the Congress party or the BJP. With video journalist Devendra Mahima for Republic Media Network.